the reason we're doing this, actually the timing of this was a little off. Ideally, I would have wanted to do this in October because that would have been the most useful for the event days, right? But now we're like in the middle of the season, so it's not so useful. But I'm hoping at least for some of you who shoot events or weddings or something, this will be useful. At least you won't screw up everything after this. Has anyone actually screwed it up that badly? They lost a card, formatted a card accidentally. Oh, only one person was willing to admit it.
No, I've done it on the laptop, not.
So you've lost data on the machine.
Yeah.
I've done it on
Location.
I went for the shoot at Big One.
Okay.
And I formatted the card.
Okay. So there's a strategy for that as well. So if you formatting is not catastrophic. Formatting, if you format, so this I don't remember if it's in the presentation right now, but just as a FYI, if you format your card, the first thing you should do is take the card out. Do not write even one bit of data onto it again. If you do that, then there's a good chance you'll get everything back. Because how a card, so this is just basically how it works. So there are your files, right? Now your files, like you can see your image files, the way it works is there's something called a FAT. Like, FAT32 NTFS, it's a file system. And then there's the data. Okay? So the FAT and data together form your files in your memory card. So what the FAT is like an index. So in the FAT it will have, like, let's say IMG 0001 is located in this chunk of data. That's what the FAT does. The FAT tells the software which is reading the card that image 0001 is in these bits of data, right? When you format the card, the data is not wiped. This is wiped, right? So this part gets wiped out when you format, unless you do what is called a low-level format. Many cameras have an option for something called a low-level format for SD cards. Don't ever use low-level format while you're out on a shoot. What low-level format will do is wipe this and this, right? So you want to do a regular. I know you have no option, but uncheck the low-level format option. Okay. So you should uncheck that option completely. Now what will happen is when you do a full-on format, this goes. But the recovery software will know. The recovery software will know, okay, what does the start of a raw file look like, what does the end of a raw file look like, and it will be able to extract it all from this. So you will actually be able to get everything back. Sorry. Hello. Hey, good morning. No, someone took it away. There's someone went up to the 4th floor and occupied the class before I got there. There's another class happening on the 4th floor. So we are actually on the first floor, which is fine. We don't have a problem. It should be fine. Yeah, they just occupied it, and I couldn't move like 45 people. They wouldn't fit in this class, so I took this class. That's fine. Don't worry about it, Professor. It's okay. Yeah, I also figured it happened, but I'm fine with the first floor. The only class we cannot use is the 3rd floor because my laptop doesn't plug into it. No, that's fine. We're already starting, so don't worry about it. We'll look at this retroactively. We'll look at it next time. No, it's fine. We're all set on the first floor. Don't worry about it. Okay, alright, thank you. Bye. Okay. So we were talking about this, right? So the software can basically recover all of this based on the headers of the files. It can recognize the files. The problem is what happens if you keep using that card. When you keep using that card, this data will get overwritten randomly. You have no guarantee about where. It's not going to start from top to bottom. It will go anywhere, right? So once that happens, the chance of recovery gets less and less. Because the data might be in bits and pieces where the headers of these files will get spoiled. So now you can't recover. So the instant you accidentally format, you take the card and you keep it in your bag. That's the only way out. I mean, there's a chance of recovering. You'd be surprised at how much you can recover. So one time I was trying to recover files for a friend, and he didn't use the card too much. But there was one wedding from which he needed a movie file. The surprising thing is I couldn't get the movie file back, but I got files which he shot 6 months ago. Because that bit of data was never rewritten. For some reason, that part was never rewritten. I got 6-month-old photos of some cricket match, right? And so that's how it works. So your strategy is, if you do this, get the card out. That's it. And then any basic software, you don't even need paid software. Like there's data rec and lots of little bits of software which will do this for you. So have you written onto that card again?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you know what not to do next time.
Is this also applicable to cards which have magic lantern on it? Any idea?
Yeah. It'll apply. You'll see the point is, at what point did you stop writing, right? So once this happens, if you pull out the card, the headers are still intact. Magic lantern has nothing to do. The magic lantern part is separate. The software is just be looking for recognizable files like JPEG and RAW files. So that's what it is. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. You use magic lantern on the Mark II.
Oh yeah. It's more, it helps a lot of video.
It does, but I don't use it because it delays the startup.
Yeah.
The startup on the camera is very slow. So what I think we'll do is just get started. Okay. Let's just get started, and if anyone walks in, they can just catch up. It's not that complicated. The last part is the most important part, which is why I kept it in the end. Okay, so this is our agenda. Why do you need to ensure data integrity? That part is obvious, right? But what it means is your understanding of keeping your data safe and secure has to be very, very well formed. Right? Right now, everyone has a very wishy-washy idea of how safe your data is. You don't exactly know how many backups you have or what. You don't know what you're doing with the data. You don't have an archival plan, and you don't have a workflow. Right? You don't have a well-designed, well-practiced workflow. A well-designed, well-practiced workflow is your way of making sure that no matter what happens, your data is going to be somewhat safe. The level of safety of your data completely depends on the design of the workflow. But your ability to even have a plan depends on having a workflow, right? The other thing you need is a lot of storage, and I mean a lot, okay? And I'll get to what I mean by a lot in a bit. And then you need software solutions that simplify your storage processes and your backup processes. By that I mean, as far as possible, you want to automate, right? You want to automate it because you never know in what circumstances you'll be backing up files. You might be in a situation where you're half dying because you shot all day, you shot 2 days consecutively, you only slept 2 hours in between. Are you then confident enough to back up your data, right? This has to be, the software solutions help you because once you hit go, it will do everything for you, and it's guaranteed that it will back it up in a consistent way. Whereas if you have to start dragging and dropping folders, just imagine, you finish one card, now you have to wait for the second card, and that process on some of those shoot on 64 GB